She was 22 years old, standing at the edge of a runway at Naval Air Station Oceana, and a decorated senior officer laughed, not quietly, not politely, but laughed right in her face. "You want to fly F-18s, sweetheart, go find yourself a desk." She did not blink, she did not cry, she simply looked at the sky. That was the beginning of Commander Maya Reyes. Maya grew up in a small town in rural Texas, the kind of place where the biggest thing in the sky was a weather balloon or a crop duster. But from the time she was 7 years old, sitting on her grandfather's porch watching the contrails of distant jets cut white lines across the blue, she knew. She told her grandfather one evening, the summer she turned 8, "Abuelo, I'm going to fly one of those." He had smiled with his whole face, the deep wrinkles around his eyes folding like the wings of a bird. He said, "Then nobody and nothing gets to tell you otherwise." Her grandfather, a retired Army mechanic who had never flown a single aircraft in his life, spent the next 6 years building model planes with her on Saturday afternoons. Not because he understood aerodynamics, because he understood her. Maya was accepted to the United States Naval Academy at 18. She graduated with honors at 22. What the paperwork did not show, what no transcript could capture, were the 5 a.m. wake-ups when the cold was so sharp it felt like a second pair of hands trying to pull her back to bed. The classmates who questioned her test scores. The instructor who once handed back her flight simulation report and muttered, just loud enough for the room to hear, "Let's see if the theory holds up in the real world." She kept every one of those reports, filed them neatly, and she wrote in the margins of each, "I will." The day she reported for advanced fighter training, the senior officer assigned to evaluate her prospects looked her up and down. He had been flying since before Maya was born. He had logged more hours in the air than she had been alive. "Too young," he said, "too light, too new." Then he laughed. The other trainees looked at the floor, nobody said a word. Maya kept her eyes on the horizon. What that man did not know was this: humiliation in Maya's hands was fuel. Every doubt someone handed her, she put directly into the engine. For the next 18 months, Maya flew. She flew when she was exhausted. She flew when her body ached from G-force training and her ears rang for hours afterward. She flew in weather that made seasoned pilots grip the armrests of their observer chairs. She did not fly to prove a point. She flew because the sky was hers, it had always been hers, and no one sitting comfortably on the ground had ever truly owned it. She also did something quieter, something that set her apart. She mentored every junior trainee who looked uncertain, every young recruit who hesitated at the hangar door. Maya stopped. She said, "Come, let me show you how I think about it." She never made it about herself, she made it about the mission. 26 months after the laugh on the runway, Maya Reyes was selected to lead a live training exercise involving a full squadron of F-18 pilots. The briefing room that morning held 14 pilots. 11 of them were men, 4 of them had significantly more flight hours than Maya. And one of them was the man who had laughed. He walked in and stopped when he saw her at the front of the room. She did not smile with satisfaction, she did not perform the moment. She simply said, "Good morning, I'm Commander Reyes, we have a mission to run." The room came to attention. He sat down, opened his mission briefing and listened. That was the turning point, not the applause, not the promotion ceremony, not the newspaper article that ran 3 weeks later. It was that quiet moment, 14 pilots, 1 room, a woman at the front, when the whole world shifted without making a single sound. Maya's grandfather passed away the winter before her promotion ceremony. She had flown home to Texas to sit with him during his final weeks. On one of those long evenings, he had looked at her in her flight suit and said, "Did you get there?" She had taken his hand. "I'm getting there, Abuelo, I'm still going." He nodded slowly. "Good, the sky does not end." At her official promotion ceremony, Maya stood in her dress uniform, the gold hardware of a Navy commander gleaming at her collar. She held her speech in one hand. In the other, quietly out of sight of the camera, she held a folded photograph. It was her and her grandfather on his porch in Texas when she was 8 years old, both of them squinting up at a contrail in the sky. She never needed the speech, she could barely read it through the tears. Here is what Maya Reyes teaches us. The people who laugh at you are telling you something not about your limitations but about theirs. They can only see the present, they cannot see your future. Doubt has a voice, it is loud, it walks into rooms and takes up space, but doubt does not have hands, it cannot fly, it cannot take the controls, it can only watch. You were built for something? Maybe it is not an F-18 cockpit. Maybe it is a classroom, a hospital, a stage, a laboratory, a kitchen, a field. But somewhere in your life there is a sky that belongs to you, and the only thing standing between you and it is the decision to keep going when someone laughs. Maya kept going. So can you. If this story touched something in you today, take a moment and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment below telling us about a time someone doubted you and what happened next. And if you are new here, welcome to Soul Relief Stories, where every week we bring you the kind of story that reminds you who you really are. Follow and we will see you in the next one.